Hello, it's Sadie. I wanted to come on and do a weekly energy reading, although the energy is not going to culminate this week. It's going to sort of begin this week. So I wanted to talk about it, how it's going to impact everybody collectively, and sort of what you can do to kind of prepare for what is to come. Trigger warning with this message because there could be a lot that comes through that's going to bring out some fear or some uncomfortability, but just always know that number one, as long as you were trusting your divine guidance, you were always divinely directed and protected at all times. And number two, everything is happening for the highest good of all, even if it doesn't look like that in the moment. So to be forewarned is to be forearmed. We are currently astrologically in the time in between eclipses. We just had the solar eclipse in Leo. Beautiful energy came through on the 12th, and we are moving towards the lunar eclipse in Pisces. And so what the energy right now does for the collective, all of us, the entire earth, is sort of bring in new timelines, new energies, new possibilities, but it also will bring up what's kind of been hidden from us. High Priestess rules secrets, rules what's happening underneath the surface. It is the intuitive, unseen realm versus the Leo energy, which is the sun. So that is the visible realm. And so what's been sort of unseen and hidden is now going to become visible in this energy with the lunar eclipse that's coming up. And the lunar eclipse is going to be on the 27th or 28th of this month, depending on where you're at in the world. And so right now, I'm filming this on the 16th. The time between eclipses is like always like a timeline portal, a choice point, a timeline shift for the collective at large. So there are going to be things that play out karmically. I need to say that. Things that have been unseen, things that have been hidden, that are going to come into the light. Some of these things for all of us that we're going to experience sort of karmic changes or needing a karmic balancing is in the realm of finances. I talked a little bit about this and the Taurus energy, the Taurus retrograde energy, because right now Taurus is in Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. So there's going to be a lot of examining our money wounds, our worth, our identity, what we believe as far as like our values. That is all changing right now. And so this energy compounded with the South Node being in Leo with Jupiter and the North Node being in Aquarius is going to bring a lot of changes to the collective identity around money and value. What is truly valuable? What is truly sustainable? What is best for everyone? With the South Node currently being in Leo, especially because Jupiter is there right now, it is amplifying and sort of illuminating the selfish and very sort of greedy ways in which society and the collective have overused resources, have inflated prices of things. And so the balance of that could be some type of collapse. Again, I'm not saying the collapse is going to happen this week, but there are already energies and indicators of financial instability and financial insecurity and financial fears and worries with the 9 of Swords coming out. I say this because a lot of the news, and I am on social media a lot, not just as a creator, but I do watch a lot just because sometimes Spirit wants me to be listening to see what's going on in the world, to kind of have a heads up. One of the things that I've been seeing repeated stories on is how Amex, American Express, huge credit card company is now limiting credit card limits. People who had no limits, people who were spending tens of thousands of dollars a month, millions of dollars a month, are now being limited to what they can spend. And this is a huge indicator in the financial markets that they know something's going to come. They know something's happening. And so they're now starting to cut back and restrict what we are able to spend. And the thing that, I'm not personally an Amex holder, but I have other credit cards. And typically when one big company does that, the other companies follow suit. And so this is a good time of really reining in your spending, really honing into your spending, really being mindful of what is being spent, how much you are spending on credit. If you didn't have that credit limit tomorrow, would you still be spending the same amount of money? These are really good things to start looking at right now, because there are going to be changes in the access to certain things. This has been a message that I've been getting for years, but specifically as we continue on with this year, there's going to be access and resources, and certain things are going to be limited. That doesn't mean that you won't have what you need, but it does mean that you may need to kind of shift your thinking and shift the way you do things for your own financial protection and for just making sure you have enough for what you need on a daily basis. This is especially true if you are single, if you're a parent, if you have a household, if you have a business. If you're relying on certain things because they've always been there, and you may have perfect credit and never had a problem with credit, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to be limited right now and restricted in what you can spend and what you can access. And so just be very mindful that this is something that is coming up. There are going to be financial changes and money changes, which is going to trickle into every aspect of life. We're already seeing the price of groceries, the price of things going up. They're not really going down. Everything's sort of skyrocketing. It's sign of the times, so to speak. But this is a time where it's going to be very, very important for you to be mindful of how you're spending and what you're doing, and just really listen to your intuition and guidance as to what you need, what's important for you to spend on, where you may need to save or cut back in spending, and the things that you really need to look at so that you can stay financially stable, even if the collective experience is some level of instability. One of the things that a lot of the people who were experiencing this were saying is this was an indicator for them, because it's something that happened during the pandemic, okay? And it's also something that happened previously in 2008 when there was also a huge financial collapse. So lenders, banks, credit card companies are going to start to really restrict what you can access. I've seen this even just with myself at my personal bank, where it's like you're not allowed to take as much money as you were before. They changed that a few months ago. You're still allowed to access money, but like they're limiting how much cash people can take because they don't have as much cash at the bank. So there's a lot of changes happening in the financial sectors of this country specifically. And I just saw 911. So again, don't have any fear about this, but sometimes it's good to be aware of things that are coming up, aware of what is occurring, so that you know how to plan and prepare for it. I'm gonna grab the card that fell. The star reversed, okay? Can't make this stuff up. So this is just a time of like, things may be sort of reversing from what you are hoping for, what you're wishing for. Not to fall into fear, just to stay steady, grounded, and understand that You have everything that you need, truly. The universe will always provide you with what you need. If you're listening to your guidance, your intuition, you're standing in integrity, you will always be provided with what you need. You will always be supported. There will always be good news, but you can also be very smart, make important, empowered decisions, be responsible with your resources, be responsible with the work that you do to create the best and highest outcome for yourself during this time, because there's a lot of things that are going to change. So talking about access and restrictions, this is not just on money. Something that Spirit's been telling me for the last few months is that travel is going to start being restricted more as well, kind of like it was in 2020. So this could indicate some sort of big event or multiple events that happen at one time that impact these areas of our life. If you have any trips coming up, have a backup plan. If, all the flights get grounded, have a backup plan of how you can get home. If you have anything that you have going on right now, just make sure that you are doing everything that you can to trust and know that you are supported and have what you need if things don't go the way that they're planned. If things go sideways, if things don't go the way that you had hoped they would go, make sure you know what you need to get out of a bad situation, to get into a better situation, and have your ducks in a row. This is a time of really having to be vigilant, diligent, and responsible. Equally too, when there are fluctuations and changes, it can sort of create a mass hysteria. People get very fearful, people get very triggered, angry. So really, really good time to just stand in your own energy, stay in your own lane. Understand the collective experience is taking place because things have been so imbalanced for so long and so unsustainable for so long that this is sort of like a natural balancing point. The pendulum always swings. However, in that, your individual experience does not have to be the same as the collective experience. Meaning, if you've been doing your own internal work, working on your own personal growth, really spiritually, like attuning to yourself, your guidance, you could have a completely different experience than what everybody else is having. We're all in our individual timelines as well as the collective timeline. So just understand that your experience does not have to be what everybody else's experience is. And that's why it's so important during this time, if there's a lot of things that come up, that you stay in your own lane and you just focus on what you can do for yourself. Stay grounded. Don't fall into fear. Really be proactive, be vigilant, do what you can to have what you need in place, but just trust that you're always going to align to your best and highest outcome, and you will. So the other thing I wanted to talk about with this energy and the in-between eclipse part of the energy is that it's going to bring up some things that are very confusing for you, because there is like this death rebirth situation that sort of brings up unfinished energy from the past. So things that you thought were healed that weren't quite healed, that could come up for you right now. This could be physical body, this could be emotional things. It's going to be all of the above. Things that need to come to an end are going to end so that you can be free and move forward into other things. Again, there's going to be an emphasis on anything that is unfinished either being completed or you having sort of like a new beginning with it. So what I mean by that is this time period could feel almost like a Mercury retrograde, in the sense of like people coming back from the past, or you going back to past experiences where you're either completing the cycle of what you needed to complete, getting the lessons, ending it for good and moving on, or you're revisiting something to finally get the healing, the clarity, what you needed from the experience, so that it can move forward in a more balanced way. So this could look like reigniting relationships from the past, not just romantic relationships. This could be friendships. This could be work relationships. Things just coming back together again, because there's an unfinished business. This could be moving back home, or moving back to an area that you thought you were done with, but then circumstances and life sort of presents the opportunity for you to move back to something, or go back to a certain job. That energy is very, very strong right now. And part of that is the timelines, and the eclipse part of it too is like, where we're at spiritually and energetically is we are on sort of an accelerated ascension timeline, which means that people are being pushed to move forward in one way or another. So sometimes being pushed to move forward means you have to be put back in a certain space, or back in a certain energy, to finally like complete it, to finally complete the lesson, to finally overcome the pattern. So that's going to come up a lot during this period too. It doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong. It doesn't mean that you're not moving forward. It just means that there's things that have to be completed before you can finally move forward. For others of you, you have completed a lot of the past, and so this time period is going to be like the culmination of everything that you've done, where it brings in this rebirth. It brings in renewal. So it can bring in new relationships, healing to current relationships. It can bring in new love. It can bring in new opportunities, because it's like you learned all the lessons from these previous timelines, and now you're stepping into the new. There's a sense of renewal. There's a sense of you really coming back to your truth and where you are meant to be. And so some of you are going to have extreme accelerated motion during this period of time, where it's like everything moves forward, like new home, new relationship, new everything over like the next like month or so. You're not going to be in the same environment, position, etc. that you were in at the beginning of the summer. By the fall equinox, it's like you're really coming into balance, and like all the new things that were meant to harvest and manifest for you are going to come in. So the energy is intense, okay? It can be really beautiful. It can be really overwhelming at the same time. Whatever your experience is, though, just understand you are where you need to be for your best and highest good. And so even if that's somewhere you feel like you should be further along, but you're not moving forward, things seem stuck, you're exactly where you need to be. Vice versa. If new opportunities and new beginnings are coming in, and the energy is a lot of new energy coming in where you're sort of having to start fresh or start from scratch, you are also exactly where you need to be right now. So just trust yourself, listen to your guidance, stay as grounded as possible during this time, because that is what's going to help you to navigate these energies. If you are feeling any sort of like financial concerns because of potential restrictions, really look at your bills, look at your finances, see what you can cut. Have cash on hand always. If you need to make a big expenditure and you have the credit available for you now, or you have the cash available for you now, this may be a time where you do it, where you actually invest in it so that you know that what you need is taken care of and you're not going to have to worry about it later. That's the best I can say right now, because there is going to be a lot of financial changes on the horizon, and it does feel like it's happening before the end of this month, or at least in the beginning of September. Okay. So with that, let's get into the energy and see what Spirit wants you to know. Higher self, Holy Spirit, guides, guardians, and angels of unconditional love. 2 cards that flew out reversed. Ace of Wands and 6 of Swords reversed. So 6 of Swords upright means moving into calmer waters. Reverse means going back to the past. Again, there's that energy of having to revisit something. Ace of Wands, upright, new beginning, new energy, birth. Reversed, things being stuck. 7 of Coins, money and resources that you may not have access to. So it could feel like, and I hate to say this, again, trigger warning, where this time period is sort of like a reversal of fortune, but it's not. It's just getting you to really think and use your resources more wisely and more creatively. With the Nemesis energy, 2 of Swords, your mind and your thoughts and your belief system can be like your greatest enemy at this time. So it is important just to stay positive, to stay in a positive mindset, to understand even if there is restrictions, even if things aren't going the way you think they're supposed to go, there is new energy with the Fool, and anything's possible in the new energy. And so you're just gonna have to come towards every situation in your life from a different point of view and be very creative on how you can overcome any obstacles for yourself. And this comes into really trusting your intuition, your discernment, and your guidance at this time. All right. With that as well, 4 of Coins is stability. So you may have enough, and it's just important to make your resources and your money work well for you. Meaning budgeting, not overspending, making sure you're saving, making sure you're investing in the things that are important to you and not just being frivolous. Because there is something here with the 4 of Swords where it's like, this is a time of rest. This is a time of retreat. This is a time of stepping back. It's important to do that because it'll be clear to you what you need if you don't try to act too quickly during this time. With the Death card too, there's a lot of that's changing. There's a lot that's transforming. Okay. 3 of Cups, the Graces. There's always grace available. Give yourself grace, but understand your grace and your help and support may come from others. And so don't be too prideful to ask for what you need from others. Atlas with Strength. This time is going to kind of test you. It's not necessarily going to be an easy time, but you will truly be able to learn your strength and power and learn how to use it in a way that benefits you for your highest good. With the Queen of Cups, stay in your heart. Truly trust your own inner voice, your inner guidance, what your emotions are telling you at this time, and not be swayed by the collective emotions, because things could be very emotional. With the 7 of Wands, continue to stand up for what you know is right for you. Even if everybody else disagrees, do what is best for you. Stand in your own power, set healthy boundaries. It is what's going to lead you towards success during this time. Because again, there's going to be a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of fear around value, money, resources, and our thoughts and beliefs about that. With the 8 of Swords, which is all about fear. Okay, fear's coming to the surface, to be acknowledged, to be seen, to be healed, to be released. And 5 of Coins, which can be, again, that energy of insecurity, feeling left out in the cold, feeling like there's not enough. It's scarcity, it's lack. Do everything that you can to hold your center, to stand in your power. The Emperor, Zeus. Because if you do, if your mindset is right during this time period, you will manifest for yourself 10 of Cups, 10 of Coins, harvest, abundance, wealth, joy, happiness, everything that you want. What you need to understand too, and the reason why I started a new account is because I have a lot of issues with this account. And this video could be an issue. I'm going to say it in this way, but I have to be careful. Is that the powers that have been in this world understand that they are losing power. Understand that they don't have the same control over the collective as they used to. And so desperate times sometimes brings out desperate measures, meaning those powers that have been may try to create events that bring up mass hysteria for the masses right now, to get everybody dysregulated, to get everybody afraid, to get everybody angry, again, to try to control the collective timeline and push the collective into a lower timeline that is not based upon the best and highest good for all. We are in the age of Aquarius. We are meant to come together as communities to rise up and to truly take our power back. We are meant to step into the light, and that is going to be challenged during this time. And so what you need to know is that a lot of the things that are going to take place over the next month or so. So this is not going to be necessarily a weekly energy reading. I'll just call it an energy reading because it's going to play out this month and sort of over the next month. It's going to be sort of to hijack the collective timeline and energetically use our loosh, which is our emotions, our heavy emotions, our fear, our doubt, our worry, our anxiety, our insecurities, to push in a new timeline, to push in new agendas and objectives that are not for the highest good of all, that are not serving ascension and evolution and growth in love and compassion. And so if you can, even in your own personal experience, even if you're going through a lot of challenges and you're not where you want to be, if you can zoom out and step back and get perspective of, number one, I'm not alone in this. This is sort of the control tactic that is being used against everybody right now to keep us in a lower density vibration and energy. And number two, regardless of what is happening in the collective environment, I have power. I am God, I am source embodied, and I have power. I have power to co-create a beautiful life experience. I have power to manifest. I have power to bring in my own personal highest good. If you can believe that, you will navigate this time as easily and as beautifully as possible. And so it's really just believing in yourself, choosing faith over fear, and not falling into hysterics or hysteria if things are to collapse. It will not be long term, but it will be enough to sort of bring things into balance. The sustainability of our end stage capitalism that we're at right now is going to collapse. It could be a free fall, or it could be multiple sort of little events that take place. However it comes to pass, really just trust yourself and rely on your own inner resources and guidance that you have. That is the best advice I can give. And just understand too, you're not alone. Everybody's in this together. Because all the videos that I was watching with the people who were having their Amex limited, or like having their cards like in their accounts like completely like suspended, were very, very wealthy people. So it's going to impact everybody now. That's the best and kindest way I could say it. Again, have compassion for yourself and others. Understand that everything is happening for the highest outcome of all. And you are here to make a difference, and your life means so much. Your life, your energy, your essence is so needed in this world. No matter how you show up, show up. No matter how you show up, show up. Share your light, hold your light, because you were truly going to be sort of like the lighthouse and the example and inspiration for others during this time. All right. So had to say it. Final messages. Love this deck. I haven't used it in a while. Denise Lynn, Sacred Forest Oracle. Let's see what's coming through. Higher Self, Holy Spirit. And my backup account is Yen Reiki Oracle. I did share a post on my community page. And I think on that account, I'm going to start doing zodiac readings. So if you want zodiac readings, go check out that account. Haven't started yet, but I think it's coming in the next week. That was the guidance. So, all right. Final messages. Magic, moon, light, enchantment. Understand that everything is energy, and regardless of what's happening, you always have access to your own magic. And when you believe that, magical things can occur for you. This is a time of deep truth, of people coming into truths, maybe even hard truths that they didn't want to see or recognize. Those things that have been hidden from us coming to the surface, coming into the light. Stand in your truth during this time, because your truth is going to bring you healing, protection. It's going to help you to elevate to the next level, where you tap into that divine birthright of prosperity and abundance that is yours and meant for you. There is no restrictions in the universe, regardless of how the powers that are trying to control abundance and trying to control and restrict. In spiritual truth, there are no limits. There is no restrictions. And so when you can believe that, you can believe that truth about yourself, you will come into the magic of being able to create whatever you need for yourself. Be generous in this energy. Generous to yourself, generous to others. Kindness and generosity is definitely going to matter in the times to come. And don't forget that life is meant to be enjoyed. So make sure that even in the seriousness of things, even in the heaviness of things, that you are taking time to play and tap into the energy of playfulness, because joy is one of the highest vibrations that you can hold. And joy purifies your mind, your body, and your spirit, the unicorn being the last card. All right, I'm sending so much love. I should be on next week. This weekend just kind of time got away from me, and there was a lot of unexpected things that came up. So should be on live next week. Sending everybody love. Take care.